Hey guys, welcome back to the campaign. We had a vote on the YouTube channel about who should get the next experience, but there's also, as another viewer pointed out, there was two other experience points. Apparently, you get an XP roll from the weird monsters, so I had one of those. And then we had an ogre, and the ogre was a boss, so we get one from there too. So we're gonna get started. So we tallied up all the votes from the last video, and it was Evelyn all the way. She's already level 2. So we double checked in the book, and the roll has to actually be higher than the level. She's level 2 and I rolled a 2. She does not level up. After the adventure, we're gonna say that Paul went to the church, spent some time in deep thought and prayer, and he's going to get the second XP roll. He's still only level 1. All he needs is to beat a 1. He does. He's going to level up. Fingers, I'm going to roll for it. Fingers is going to level up. So he'll be the highest level character in the party. Level 3. I deposited 116 gold into the guild bank. That gives me a total of 356. Now it's time to pay the characters. After I paid my wages, I'm at 311. You get 5 gold per level per adventure. She-Wolf is level 2, so she gets 10. Fingers is level 3, he gets 15. Paul is level 2, so he gets 10. And Evelyn stayed at level 2. She could have leveled up, but she gets 10. Surprise. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Amy's group comes to Castle Crest. Scylla has a clue that she needs to investigate. And the first place that makes sense to her is to head to the Adventurers Guild, where she meets up with my group. Evelyn just failed her leveling up, and so she goes into study. And Paul has had some problems leveling up. He did level up, but he still doesn't feel fully confident, so he's gonna head to the church for a couple weeks. And that leaves She-Wolf and Fingers, and Amy has chose to use Gideon and Scylla. And so we meet up. So the whole adventure will be based around figuring out Scylla's clue. She's came to the Adventuring Guild to get help. She thinks that she has some important information. Let's say that we, have done a little bit of research. We are going to leave Castle Crest and see where the road takes us. The first thing we have to do is generate the hometown hex. Choose a hex near the center of the map, determine the terrain, locate the city, road, and river, move to adjacent hex grid. All right, as usual, I like drawing my stuff and I want to keep it all in the journal here. So I just drew a hex in the middle of here, and this is where we'll get started. And eventually these will come out and I'll link them all together into a big map. The thing we got to do is see what kind of terrain Castle Crest is located in. We got a 78. That gives us mountains. So now we got to roll for the roads. I'll show you guys the hex once we've completed it. Go ahead. Wow, look at this. You're always, every week you're doing something new. All right, so we got a 4. You got to roll for one more time. We got a 4 and a 2. And so now it says roll for a river. We need 2 rolls here, 4 and a 1. Here's our first hex. So we have Castle Crest sits up in the mountains, which makes it like a fortified city. It's really hard to get up in there. The road spans right here down at the bottom, and then we have a river that cuts up through the mountains, and that's what supplies Castle Crest with fresh water and fishing and stuff like that. And now we're gonna pick an adjacent hex. As always, I like to keep everything random, so let's see where the clue takes us, which direction out of the hex. 1. It's normal. We're gonna roll for terrain. Okay, 2 10s. You get a 95. We got desert. The way I see it on the map, it doesn't necessarily have to be like desert. We're going way up into the mountains here, so it's gonna be like Badlands. So the new hex has no edges with a road on it, so we gotta roll a d6. Get a 2. All right, there's no road in the new hex with a roll of a 2. So yeah, we're up in the Badlands. We're in the river section. The new hex does have at least one edge with a river. So we use the chart above for this, and we replace the word road with river. Go ahead, roll a d6. It's a 6. So the river splits twice, and we got to roll on this chart to see which edges it goes to. All right, go ahead. We get a 5, and we get a 1. So now we got to roll on entering a roadless hex. Go for it. We get a 6. All right, we were both just like, whoa. There's an ancient crypt up here. So here's what we got so far. The river travels north up into the Badlands. We've got a few mountains kind of pushed over into this section here. And then it turns into the Badlands. The river splits 2 directions. And then over here we have an ancient crypt. We have to roll on the roadless hex events. It says roadless hex are less civilized areas with higher risk of unsafe events. Of course. For it. We got 12. Roll on the troubles table. Amy's rolling. Yep, we gotta roll 10-sided dice and see what happens.
10.
We've reached a dead end. It's Badlands. You can end up, in dead ends. The party's having a hard time orienting themselves through the terrain, and eventually it becomes impassable. The party loses 2 days walking back to find another path. Roll another hex event. So this loses 2 days thing, I think there's more to it than what I know. If I miss something, we'll eventually learn about it and pick it up, but I think it's something to do with eating rations because we've lost 2 days now. Since we don't know about rations yet, it's either one of the supplement books or it's deeper into this book. What we did, to be fair, because we did lose 2 days, we all took 1 hit point damage. So we've been instructed to roll another hex event. Go for it. We got 9. Okay, we got roll on wilderness table. All right, a 2d6. Let's see what happens to us. 10. As we struggle through the mountains, we eventually find a shortcut, which is nice. The party notices a better and shorter path to follow. Move cost of the terrain is reduced by 50%. Roll for another hex event. All right, come on, get us something good here. We got a 4. All right, so we've got to roll on the trouble table again and resolve it, then roll on this table again for a non-trouble event. Sounds like a lot, guys, but it's actually pretty fun and cool. All right, let's do it.
6.
We get a 6. Mosquito swarm. Re-roll if you're in the desert. Let's do it. 8. The party passes through an unholy site. That is like absolutely perfect for the ancient crypt that's in the area. As we explore this hex, we start to hear voices and whispers of other dimensional demons in the area. We're gonna start with She-Wolf down here. She's level 2, plus 3. So I need a 5 or better to resist going mad. Yes.
Good job.
Fingers is level 3. That means he needs a 6. Yikes. Let's do it. No. Go for it. Gideon needs 4 up. Yes. Scylla needs a 5 or a 6. Yes, and she got to add level stuff, but she did it. The rest of the group is unaffected, but we're starting to catch Fingers kind of mumbling in some incoherent language, and he's acting pretty strange. Scylla walks up behind him and says a little prayer, maybe lays her hand on his back without him even knowing it, and she's gonna bless him and remove this affliction. Curse would have been minus your level to attack and defense rolls for the rest of the adventure. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Now we've got to roll on the chart and get a non-trouble. Go for it. The rest of the journey is quiet, meeting no one in the wilderness, no events. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need as we're heading over toward this ancient crypt. After Scylla prayed to her god and healed Fingers over there, maybe there's like a protective barrier around us where these demonic voices and stuff, they know that they have no power. So we are approaching the ancient crypt. Scylla's heard about this ancient crypt. They're known as the Crypts of Damnation. It's just like regular Dungeons and Dragons. These crypts are way above our level. They are like, there's monsters in there, we looked, that are like highest class level in the group plus 5. So our clue isn't leading us to these crypts, but now that we've mapped it, we know that this crypt is here. We can come here anytime we want. And I think once we get a little bit more powerful, we can come back here and we can loot this crypt and kind of clean it out. but we're gonna continue on our way. The group has decided to continue following the river. Let's see what terrain's on the next hex. More desert or badlands, so that makes perfect sense on our map as it continues to go north. The new hex has no edges with a road. Roll D6. That's where we're heading.
Okay, 6.
All right. There's no road in the new hex, which is cool. That fits perfectly for this map. The new hex has at least one edge with a river. Then we go back to this chart and replace the word road with river. The new hex has one edge, so that we got to roll a D6. You get a 2. It doesn't split, and we got to roll randomly to see what edge it goes off of. You get a 5, right up there. Again, once we build all this up, I'll show you guys the final hex. See what our special feature is for this one. There's a keep out here. As we followed the river, even further up into the Badlands, we have a keep. And like I was telling Amy, maybe this ancient crypt here, perhaps they brought their dead down here and buried them in these lands. So the keeps are actually pretty cool. It's a safe place for us to stop in. You can buy equipment there. You can get quests. You can hire people. So we're gonna stop into this keep and see what we can come up with. First thing that we're gonna do when we stop at the keep is see if there's any quests available. The commander has a 20% chance of giving us one. Okay, Amy's gonna roll 100-sided and see if we get a quest. 17. We get a quest. Sweet. We're rolling on the quest table here. We get to roll the good old D20. Come on, Amy.
15.
15. It's funny how everything's just falling in line. So we roll for catacombs, 2 levels. The ancient crypt and tile rules, right? Kill the final boss. Basically, we've decided to come back here when we're stronger. When we think that we can kill some of the stuff in here, we got to level up. But now, obviously this evil that's in this area is sort of seeping up toward the keep up there. And these are the people that they buried long ago. And they want us, the commander of this keep gives us a quest to basically come down here and rid this place of evil. So like I was telling Amy, we could have just ended up coming in here and clearing this out and whatever. Now, instead of just clearing the crypt out, the commander will pay us 150 gold plus a free weapon or armor of our choice to come here and clear this out. We also learned from the commander that this crypt is a 2-level crypt. It's nice to gain that information. We know a little bit more about this when we come back here, but we are going to continue on. We are going to continue following the river. We're rolling for the terrain in this hex. We got a 3.
30.
Geez, I've only been reading these dice for like 40 years. Yeah, Amy pointed out that's 30. We get some grasslands. The new hex has no roads, so we're gonna make a road roll here to see if a new one starts. Ooh, 1. Yeah, that was actually good news for a 1. A new road starts here out of the special feature in the area. So we gotta find out what the special feature is. So we're entering a roadless hex. All right, let's see what we got. So we have some ruins. Now we got to see the road, it says starts right out of here. We got to see which direction the road goes out of the ruins. 6. Goes out the top of the hex. Since there is one section of river touching this one, we got to use the roads chart, but replace it with the word river. Got a 3. It doesn't split, so we need to determine which edge it goes off of. Go for it. 3. And our river curves up and around and comes back and connects in right there. So the clue basically has led us up to this set of ruins up here. And to represent that, the book that we have says use open air dungeons and on. So here's what we're gonna do, keep it real simple. We're gonna use the Twisted Dungeons book, and we're gonna use the Twisted Minions book. And we're gonna imagine, like in the old days of D&D, that this is an open air set of ruins, and when we're in here, we're not in an underground dungeon. It's open to the sky, so let's get started. Let's get to some action here and see what kind of set of ruins this is. She's gonna roll the D88.
16.
We get strong monsters and hearty meals. All of the major monsters, the bosses and the weird monsters found in this dungeon either have +2 life or +1 to their level. Your choice. Each living humanoid major monster encountered will also have 1d6 +1 food rations. That's pretty cool. This food will not be particularly tasty, but may be used by the party. We got to roll D100 for the Twisted Minions. 44. Okay, so that's pretty cool. The minions in these ruins try to take us alive. If they do, we go to the prisoners scenario at the end of the book, and I guess we got to try to escape from the prison. That's pretty cool. Like I told Amy, our characters don't know this, but the scary part is, why are they trying to take us alive? I suppose we'll find that out.